Hello everyone, and welcome. The current episode of Gaming Oddities I wanted to do is currently still being made because, like I said, it's a little more than just showing something off in a normal sense. So today we're going to go to a very obscure console that I really like, and this is the American version of what is called the PC Engine in Japan. It is PC Engine in Japan is about just only this big. The entire system was redesigned. It's very odd. It has a special cover that protects a back port, which was later used for the TurboGrafx CD or the PC CD. A little more on that later. This is just the basic system. The original before it had the CD, and then later did the Sega kind of thing and made a full let's put everything together thing. Now, the thing I always found interesting is this is where the games go, and that's the game. It is a card. It's like the size of a credit card. It has very interesting design. And the case, and yes, this is probably one of the most well-known games on the system, Splatterhouse. It's complete with its booklet, which is pathetically small. I mean, really, just it's only 9 pages. It is very thin, but it's there. Yoink. And the HUD cards, which is what they'll refer to as, would come in little plastic slips that would keep them protected and cleaned. That would just be in the case, and there you go. Splatterhouse, the collectible trading card game. Wait, wrong thing. They're very, very interesting. It's pretty hard to find good conditioned cases in that for it. What was always weird with the cases to me is that, you know how like a lot of CD cases, they have like little pieces of paper that are in the back. Well, the back thing is just a gray thing, and they put a label sticker thing from the back to the side with the title on it. Now, most TurboGrafx, if you actually bought one new, mostly in America came with Keith Courage, which is a very plain platformer and a very similar design. Now, this one doesn't have the little clip thing. I'm not sure if that's normal. It does have a little sticky dot in the middle that's sticky, so I think that was something they were originally trying to go with, and then obviously the sticky thing would eventually go away if you used it a lot. I don't have a lot of games in my own personal collection because not a lot of stores carry Military Madness, as you always saw in there. And another notable game that a lot of people like, which sadly doesn't have, and is probably the most damaged one I have. The thing is damaged and does not have a protective thing on it. But it is Alien Crush, which is a very bizarre pinball game. But that's just a few games, but this ain't to be a show-offy thing for games. This is about the system itself. So anyway, the HUD cards, for one thing, are very different when you got different countries. They gave the pins a different design for each one, so they would be incompatible with each other. So some people made these special things that would basically have the input pins of your region, and then basically on the other end would accept a different one, and you would just connect them in. But these things are pretty expensive, and I've never been able to get one. I would love to have one. Currently, I've been debating about maybe getting like a Japanese Duo, which was the successor before the PC Engine 2, which didn't come to America. The Duo was the CD in the HUD card as one system, as in this. It was a lot neater for the Japanese version. They were. I don't know why they made the American version so weirdly designed here. See, on the side here is where you would put the power adapter, which James would probably love, Because if you remember some of his videos where he ranted about the big ass plug pieces, should have these. Hey, somebody actually listened to him somewhere in the past. And it just simply would plug into the side there. Yeah. Genius. But I do not have a CD. The thing costs a lot. The CD part, interestingly, is region free. So, reason I've been thinking about getting a Japanese duo is so I have a Japanese HUD player, and the CD would just basically play everything. Because those are a lot cheaper than getting any of the American versions. Sell for a lot. Now the controller takes a page from the NES. Basically, it's pretty smooth around the sides and that. You could say maybe it's a little from the Super Nintendo and NES design. Interestingly, all the turbo controllers had built-in turbo. But what would you expect? Pretty plain. Oddly enough, though, all the will start would be, it's called 1 on the turbo. Why it's called that, I have no idea, but it doesn't. It just calls it 1, 2 buttons instead of A and B, but it still has select and that. But it has a short cord. Look how short this cord is. What? You basically would have to sit right up to this thing. And the plug is also very strange input. It's very, very big, see? It's like the size of my finger. There's only one output. I think there were 2 on the Japanese one, I think. I can't remember. There might have just been 1. I do know they were trying to go for the big accessory kind of cell. Let's see. Twin nimble headers went in. There we go. It's a little snuggle. It's been a while since I used this. But it would just go in there, and it had a multi-tab you could use for more controls for like Bomberman and that. Yeah, that's pretty snug. But to be honest, when I played the TurboGrafx, I don't really use this control because it came with a much longer cord and bell control, in my opinion, which is the arcade stick that came with it. Well, didn't come with it, but I mean, you could get it. Again, it had turbo. It had a slow option, which would, be continuously pausing and unpausing. You start and select, and you could also control the rapidness of the turbo, and you got your stick. It's a very simple design, nothing too complicated at all. It has oddly a orange ball, which is very strange. It's a lot smaller than the Sega Genesis arcade stick. I remember the ball piece for the joystick being much bigger on now. It's very nice and comfortable. It's very delightful for sitting down there, and it works very nicely. I always use it when I play this. Because mainly, what I do with it, because the cord is just so insanely much longer. It's a lot more manageable to use. Sadly, if you're stuck with the original TurboGrafx, you were stuck using the classic old TV wire. The antenna wire device, or however you wish to refer to it. This is the actual TurboGrafx 16 for the America. And you plug this one in the side right here, and then you had the actual channel 4 and 3 right on the side of the console, which was really weird. What really I found weird is, I don't know if it's broke off, but the actual switch is like way in there. Like, you need something really small. I don't know if there was originally something sticking out or not, to be honest. But again, a very strange plug choice. It's very circular. It just slips in, but nothing truly insanely bizarre. The actual box itself is just pretty normal. You got the cable slip-on thing, the one that connects to your TV. like I said, the channel things on the actual console. You had to buy a separate accessory to use the yellow, red, and white cables, which was very stupid, to be honest. I mean, this is part of 16 gen. Now, don't get on to the whole, it's an 8-bit console, it's a 16-bit console. We're not talking about that. This came out during the 16-bit age, and there is an argument whether it's a 16, 8-bit, or a mutation of the two due to its, basically the parts it used in it. But, it came out in the 16-bit age, and, you know, the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis had, these wires, so it was kind of weird for it not to really support, especially since, you know, it's in a very tough market. Nintendo still had a pretty strong hold on the video game market in America, still with their stupid rules that you can't make games for those systems and shit. But sadly, I blame a lot of that on the failure of Hudson Soft. And yes, this was made by Hudson Soft, the people who made Venture Island and such. The PC Engine was very successful in Japan and found a very delightful audience, and would be home of some really bizarre and classic games such as Castlevania, Wonder Blood, and Splatterhouse and such. While in America, it would be a pretty obscure system that just never really kicked off, sadly. It is a very interesting system, and I really do want to see get the CD add-on, because they're all a lot of interesting games for this device. But I really do like the design of the Japanese version much better than the American one. It just kind of reminds me of them trying to make it look different. I mean, the Famicom and NES looked way different from each other in Japan and America, and they were just trying to give it a different look. Because to be honest, when you look at the Famicom stuff, it has a kind of retro, junky kind of feel to it, kind of like Atari stuff. I mean, there was a nice style to them, but I mean, like when you had the games and stuff, the cartridges and that just had kind of a weird feel to them, and I feel Famicom carts kind of have that feeling, why America's carts are just kind of professional looking. But that's the TurboGrafx 16. It's a very interesting device. You can get the original device here that just has the HuCards for very cheap, but the CD add-on is an arm and a leg, so unless you're willing to shell out for a Duo or to get the CD add-on for the original TurboGrafx 16 model, it's a little tough to get that. But the original TurboGrafx is pretty cheap to get. It doesn't have any weird defective problems or anything. It works, it's reliable. I've never had a problem with it. It's a very nice device. It's very interesting, and I will always wow people with my card collection. I hope you liked this short episode of Gaming Oddities. Please feel free to leave any feedback or anything. And like I said, the one episode I talked about a while ago, I'm still working on that. Hopefully, we'll get that done sometime here soon. But until then, I hope you enjoyed this.